Hey guys, this week in Java, we went over grid views and a few other controls, but I chose to do the 3-star project 7-6 personal photo app. Create your own photo app with 8 images of your family and friends in a grid view control. I just got some free stock images on Adobe. The reason being is all my photos, the resolution's so high on them that I was overloading the RAM on the memory on the emulator, and so rather than mess with the Gradle code or anything, I just got some uh, Adobe free stock and just cut it down instead of names, just descriptions. So yeah, but I got the spirit of the assignment complete. Create grid view that displays 8 images for friends and family. When the user selects, say, specific thumbnail image in grid view, a large image appears with a custom toast message that states the first name of the pictured person. So rather than the toast message just being the name or description in my case, I chose to make the entire thing a toast message. So my image will show as enlarged, and then I'll have some text underneath it as my toast image, and it'll go away after a few seconds. And I'll go over that more later. Select your own images, which I've done. Use a layout of your choice. Done. And I probably should have been doing this in the past, but so for my icon launcher, this is what I got, and this is what I used in Photoshop and made for my icon and my app logo. With that being said, let's go ahead and close out of that. My strings, uh, just a string showing for the description for each of my images that I'm going to have. And as always, I have a lot of trouble anytime I'm calling on these in an array. So I gave up on it instead of spend more time on it and just went ahead and put the text values in that array. But my image array is still correct. It just responds to the index value for the string array. Up here, not super important, just stuff, generic stuff I usually have coded in. Okay, splash activity, nothing new here. I did have to rebuild my Android manifest because I cleaned it up and it deleted out some code, so it took me forever to figure out why my code wasn't loading beyond my splash screen, but I got it figured out. All this is the same. I will say that I did go back in, and where I told you last week and the week before that I leave my text view empty unless I want to go out and add it. So this time, because my icon launcher does not strictly say in the icon itself, personal photo app or the name of the app, I went ahead and added that text view back in. So go ahead and close out of that. And again, after 3 seconds, it moves. Activity main. All right, so I've got my grid view here, and I've got a linear layout, a vertical linear layout here, and that's all there is to it to this page. But let's go and take a look at that. Just some simple stuff added in there, constraints, making all the yellow triangles go away. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and go over this. I created, like I said earlier, a custom toast message. In order to do this, I had to create a custom toast layout. So I have my image is going to populate here, then a text view down here. I have a default background of black for this, and for just a default image, I just picked the IC launcher foreground. It was already in there. No sense in messing around with it. And that's just so I have something in there that it is immediately overridden as soon as you run the program itself. So that's not important. It's just a placeholder. Um, Down here is my text view. I've changed the display to so it gives me a little bit larger text because it defaults to really tiny text, which is fine, I guess, if you're holding a handheld. But for an emulator, I got old person eyes, so I went ahead and changed that to larger. Background for my text is going to be white, and that's in case there's any images underneath it. Then my text color is black, and I changed the background for my images up here to black as well because you can still see the images behind the image. So that was the purpose of that. I originally tried to create a custom drawable XML down here where it would just have a border, and so it was just a black rectangle, but I could not get it to match the constraints of the image as it populated. So rather than pull any hair out of it, I just deleted that out and just set the background to black for the image view here. So moving forward, our main activity. Okay, so setting up the images and the text descriptions. Bad grammar. I told you earlier I always have trouble calling on string values in arrays, and I get tired of fighting with it. There's probably a simple solution, and I've probably done it before. I'm just not willing to go back and figure it out. But basically, this will correspond to position 0, which equals position 0 up here, and so on. So I can use the same index on both and get the same thing, and which is what I'll do for a lot of things. Okay, so we go down here. I'm getting my grid view control and setting the custom adapter, which we'll go over in a minute. Setting my on-click listener for with Lambda for grid view. Setting the inflator, getting the image view and text view from the custom toast layout that we just went over. Wow. Okay. I originally had this set up to names, and that's why I went ahead and changed that to text values. Okay. All right. So down here, okay, setting the toast message, then displaying it. And I've got this is just short. I've got it set to long over here, I think, so I can probably go ahead and change that. Yeah, let's change that just to. My bad. Better to catch these things before you turn it in. All right. Okay. So custom test me. Okay. Setting the layout and then testing it, showing it. All right. Over here to my custom image adapter, initializing my class variables, the constructor for the custom image adapter, and image IDs, text values, and then context. This is going to return how many images are in that array, which will be important for determining my index position. This is just your auto-generated code, but it's not necessary for this app, so I leave it in there, but they're not returning anything important. And I will just quickly explain, because this right here might be important, but I'm using other methods to get my position, so I'm not worried about it. Getting the item, returning null, because I've already got that taken care of using arrays. All right. Creating custom view for the images at the index positions. Okay, so whenever I'm calling on my parent, I'm calling on my grid view. I'm just throwing that out there. If all right, so right here, all this is I'm setting my layout parameters within the grid view for each of those images. And if it's already set, then I'm just reusing that view. And this is just calling on the image and setting it, or getting the image from the array. Down here, I'm setting an on-click listener and then showing the toast message. Just ignore this. It's just something to get rid of the yellow triangle again. That's just my layout and everything. Alright, getting my image view from my custom toast layout. Same thing with my text view up here. I'm setting my duration and then calling on that view. This, I'm filling it, and that goes back to my background. But I said I didn't have this in here originally, but in order to get the background filled in with black or something just to hide the images underneath without getting rid of the grid view completely, that's what that's there for. And then returning that image view to the toast layout. So let's go ahead and run it. I'll probably just mess something up, changing that to long. Alright, so like I said, just 8 random images. Bugacino. Alright. Our dog Goose. We actually do have a cat named Stinky. It's about the only accurate thing on this. And yeah, so that's it for this week. Thank you.